What is up, guys? Matt with Ice Picks, and it is finally August 1st. So really excited that it's finally August. July, I hated July. July was probably my worst month in the 3 years that I've done this. Hated July. I really didn't drop any free plays because I mean, just on these lower leagues, it was really difficult for me to get any traction this month. May, no problem. June, no problem. July, seriously, if I took a first half over, it went under. If I took second half highest scoring, there were 10 goals in the first half. If I took a corner bet, it missed by the hook. I mean, it just seemed like anything and everything just was not going my way. So, three plays today, three really good write-ups for all these plays, and I'm actually going to hit all of these. We're going to try to start doing one YouTube POD of the week. Serial show back on Thursday. Also doing a show called Flash and Friends with Gordon Flash Watson. Alex Classic Tits will be on there. Just some footy. Some very sharp guys. Brad Thomas from NBC and Park the Bus Bets. So at least five of those guys, including myself, should be a great show. I'm really excited for it, but I'm very excited for the Serial season to get started back up. We put up 27 units on the BetUS Sportsbook Serial show last year. It's going to be the same crew. It's going to be me, Flash, and of course the beautiful Mina Rizuki, my favorite London journalist. So it'll be us three. Very excited for it. So, anyways, let's get into these plays. I'm going to have two plays, and then I'm going to have a third that's going to be the POD. And then from here on out, I'll typically just post the POD. So we'll see how this goes. I'm going to read my write-ups, whatnot. First play today. This is actually an early game. I believe this actually might be in 45 minutes. I believe it's 11 Eastern is when this one starts. Probably my lowest confident play of the day, but I do really like this, and I'll show you why in a second. This is going to be Auda versus Valmiera in Latvia. Second half high scoring plus 100. Valmiera is a team that I really like second half high scoring for. The numbers on the road honestly are not very good. However, Auda is the home team today, 9-1 at home for them in 10 games. They're one of the top Latvian sides, scoring 0.7 in the first half at home, 1.3 in the second half. They only concede 0.2 in the first half at home and 0.8 in the second half. First half clean sheet ratio of 80%, which is extremely high. Valmiera numbers make it a little bit more difficult because they score one in the first half, but 1.64 second half. Losing my track here. Anyways, first half, they only concede 0.23, extremely similar to Auda in that regard, but only 0.32 second half. First half clean sheet ratio is 77%. So with a team with 80% and 77%, we've got to hope this bad boy ends 0-0 in the first half. But even if there's one goal, which I would expect there to be less than two in the first half, I think we easily could see two in the second half, especially because I think Auda has a good chance of actually punching the ball in first. And I don't expect Valmiera to get shut out in this game. What's interesting about this game is this is either going to be extremely high scoring or extremely low scoring. We saw Auda play RFS last week, keep that game 0-0 against one of the top Latvian teams. They played Riga a few weeks ago. That game ended 1-0, 0-0 at halftime, 1-0 Riga final. Late goal in that game. Head to head, this is actually 4-1 since 2017. Or 3-1 since 2017. Obviously, there's a lot of value on Valmiera. Coming off a Conference League loss, they're now out of Conference League. They're going to be mad, but they also should probably rotate in this game because their top guys played a full 90 minutes last week, not a few days ago, actually. I don't expect them to really have fresh legs, especially in this first half. So I do like this game to open up more so in the second half. I think this is a very good look, a very good angle on this game. And Valmiera is a team that can really just pop off at any time. I think last league game, maybe two league games ago, I think they scored 6 goals in the second half, just something absolutely ridiculous. Actually, that was the last time I took this bet as well. So anyways, on to the next one. This one is at 2 p.m. Eastern, Uruguay, Liverpool versus Defensor Sporting. Over 2.25, minus 125. Typically, what I do in Liverpool or in Uruguay is when Liverpool plays at home, I take the first half team total. It's plus 108 today. Pulling these numbers, the value is actually on the other side, which is actually very surprising to me because Liverpool is very solid at home. What's very interesting to me about this game is that Defensor have actually scored first in 70% of away games. That's extremely high rate, especially against good teams. Expected goals for is 2.08, 1.39 against, very similar to Liverpool's, who are scoring 1.8 or expecting 1.8 expected goals for and 1.53 expected goals against. Very, very, very similar numbers. But as I just mentioned, defense are actually expecting more goals and and expecting a little bit less against. Liverpool are scoring 0.67 goals in the first half. Their opponent is scoring 0.7. So pretty much even there. In the second half, Liverpool score 0.83, defense score 0.6. Okay. So based on those numbers right there, that tells me Liverpool actually has a better chance to score in the second half in this game. The numbers I also don't like for this is the fact that defensor actually scores 70% of the goals first before their opponent on the road. So based on what I just said, a lot of people are probably thinking, oh, first half over one, right? The kicker here is that the first half over 0.5 grades out at exactly 69%, which is a very, very good rate, especially if you want to use that as parlay piece. I think first half over 0.5 is a great leg. However, over 1.5 grades out 17% for Liverpool, 24% for Defensor. So it's not a very high grade. Honestly, the value is technically on the first half under one, if you want to go by stats on this one. So for that matter, I'm actually going to go with this full game because, like I just said, somebody should score in this first half, at least somebody. And it wouldn't surprise me if it was 2-0 either side or 1-1 either side in this first half. However, Liverpool have a slight edge in the second half to score, while defense are conceding more goals in the second half than they are in the first half, anyhow. So with a total at 2.25, I really like this. And I do like this a little bit better than both teams to score, which is priced exactly the same, just for the fact that I think either of these teams are capable of scoring twice. So if this game is sitting at 2-0 and I take both teams to score, I'm going to be angry. Even if there's 30 minutes left, because you have the over 2.25, you're only sitting at a half loss, right? With 30 minutes left, and Liverpool will say is up 2-0, right? Then you have to have defender score. And you know, especially in these South American countries, there's a lot of red cards, especially late in games, specifically with 2-0 leads. And quite frankly, I don't know which side to play in this one because I think either team could score twice. If you want to take a value shot in this game, to score both halves for either team is just ridiculous. It's plus 300 and plus 500, I think. The numbers, again, for defense are actually better in that regard. They're technically both 30% home and away for each team. But I think defenser actually has a slight edge here, which is not what I was expecting when I originally pulled this game up. So we'll see what happens. I really, really like this game today. But my favorite, this one right here, will be the POD. It's going to be my only 2 unit of the day. Iceland, Breidablik first half, minus 0.75, minus 118. I have been sitting Breidablik a lot. I have not been playing Breidablik very much. Last game ended 0-0. I had no action. I think 3 games ago, they ended 0-0. I did have action on that one. I lost. I really like them in this spot. I do have one question mark about this game. I'll go ahead and get that out before. Isaac Thorvaldsen is, quite frankly, very obviously their best scorer. If you watch him play, he is the best player on the field, no matter who they're playing against, as long as it's a domestic competition. He is signing with Rosenborg, confirmed. 100% signing with Rosenborg whenever Breidablik gets knocked out of Europa qualification or Europa Conference qualification, forgive me. He's going to sign with Rosenborg. So, because of that, does he play today? The same thing is happening with Nisame or Nisame at Young Boys. He played the full game yesterday. He played for 77 minutes. So, based on that, I'm going to take a guess and say that Thorvaldsen should play in this game at least for a half. And as long as he plays for a half, I think we're good. The Cranes have given up 6 goals in the last 3 first halves. They've also been shut out in 3 straight games. Breidablik 6-0 in the first half at home. I actually watched these two teams play. It was probably, I don't know off the top of my head, but I think it was late June. Breidablik was at a Cranes. They went up 2-0. I mean, they were cutting through this defense like butter. Cranes got an early penalty kick in the second half, and then they ended up getting a kind of a cheesy goal. So they ended up scoring twice. Breidablik wins the game late 3-2. That was not a reflection of how the game actually went. Breidablik completely dominated that game. However, they did score a penalty in the first half as well. I really like this first half, minus 0.75. I think it's really good odds. I don't see this not being a half win at best. I don't see Breidablik losing or drawing this first half. especially considering that at home they're a completely different animal than on the road. Anybody and everybody knows that. Look at their numbers. That's exactly what they will tell you. I actually do like both teams to score in this game, which is kind of crazy because the Cranes hasn't scored in 3 games. But every time you watch Breidablik, there are so many moments in the game you're like, how did that team not score right there? Their defense is not impenetrable. However, Cranes haven't scored in 3 games, so there's absolutely no reason for me to take win and both teams to score plus 130. I just don't think it's good enough value. If I was going to take a value shot here, it would be Breidablik to score twice in the first half at plus 155. I think that's a good look, but I think this is a safer play because I totally expect them to score in the first half, and I'm not sure Cranes can score, especially that early in the game. Interested to see what kind of lineup Breidablik throws out there, but regardless, doesn't matter if they played their entire bench, they still have a better lineup than a Cranes. So that's it. That's what I like today. 3 plays. Probably going to go to South America later today, play some corners, but these are my 3. Starting soon, Latvia, Otta, Valmiera, second half high scoring, even. Uruguay, 1 unit. Liverpool, Montevideo, Defensor Sporting over 2.25, minus 125. And lastly, Breidablik, 2 units, first Cranes. First half, minus 0.75, minus 118. So I'll be back tomorrow. We'll keep these YouTube plays going. Got my yellow pad, got my notes. We're all set. I'm actually in Texas right now. I'm at my grandpa's meat packing plant, so I'm in the office. It looks like it's from 1940 because it is. So forget the backdrop today. We'll have a better one later this week. But that's all, guys. Also, Serie A, Premier League, Bundesliga, La Liga, college football, and NFL starting. We did go back to Patreon. So if you want to join, deals on Patreon right now. And that's all I have. So see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in.